Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today's video is about how to write a good research proposal. This is one of the questions that I get a lot in my channel. How can I write a good research proposal? And as you know, like so many scholarship or so many positions in so many universities, the first thing they ask you to do is to write a good research proposal. And often students, they find themselves very lost when it comes to this point. So in this video, we'll talk about what is a research proposal, the types of research proposal, and of course, how to write a very good research proposal. So let's start directly. Of course, I'm always using my lectures, and I will put a link to my lectures here. And also you can find all my lectures in one document in ResearchGate. You just type my name and you will find all my publications there. So let's start. What is a research proposal and how to write a research proposal? So the first thing let's talk about is what is a research proposal. So a research proposal or research synopsis is a document. This is the first thing that you really have to know, that it is a document. It's not a kind of research by itself, but it is a document, and this document has a specific purpose. So what is this purpose? In which a researcher outlines concise and detailed proposed study. And you can see here, it is a proposed study. It's not an actual study, but something that you are still at the process of proposing. So now, whether an assessing committee or a referee or a funding agency, all will want to be assured that all the processes of research are well thought of and are good enough to warrant an investigation. So see, this is the main purpose of a research proposal. Often students, they tell me, for example, or some researchers said, when I want to start my research, I write a research proposal. And I said, why would you like to write a research proposal if it is your own research? Because there is no point in doing that. Most of the time, if not all the time, we write a research proposal because we want someone to evaluate our work, and maybe we have a purpose. Either you are looking for a supervisor, or you just want your research to be funded, for instance. So thus, a research proposal serves as what? As a useful basis for the evaluation of the project, starting with investigating the significance of the research questions and the hypothesis. So this is the main aspect. So second, we have a supervisor or a scientific committee will guarantee that the methodology that will be used in the research is valid and going to answer the questions or address the hypothesis. And another point is ethicality is also an important aspect to be reviewed in a research proposal. A researcher has to provide assurances to a review board that research will not violate any ethical consideration, whether general ones or institution-specific ones. This is very important. So as I said, the main purpose of a research proposal is often either you are going to be granted funding, and that's why you are sharing your ideas with a committee or a company or whatever, or in most of the time, for example, in universities, you want a supervisor, like you ask for a supervisor. That person is going to supervise you first, is going to know or want to know about your ideas, about your research. And this is why it's important to write a research proposal. So what do we want? What do we need in a research proposal? What are the elements we need? So a research proposal bears similar structure to the final research. It has similar structure to the final research. It serves what? A step-by-step plan for the investigation. The only difference is that a research proposal remains blueprint for what will happen, not what happened. And this is very important because most of the time when students write a research proposal, they write as if it's something happened. No, that's when you write your research report. Usually that's the case. But when it comes to a research proposal, you are telling us that what will happen. So you can anticipate all the problems. You have a research, you tell us about what you are going to do. So let's talk about the main point in research proposal. You have to know that in many universities, you are going to find like different a different template when it comes to writing a research proposal. Some they say you, for example, use 6 points, some you use 7 points. It depends. It depends first, for example, universities, if they are going to provide you with a ready made template, or for example, it's just kind of regulation. Now, in my lecture, what I did, I try to cover all the possible points that one should include when it comes to research proposal. So this is not like a standard template, but it helps if, for example, you are going to write a research proposal. You have to know that these probably are the most possible elements that needs to be added to a research proposal. So let's check them. So now that's the following sections need to be incorporated in research proposal. So what do we have? Number one, of course, you need a title. That's very important. You need an abstract, you need an introduction, you need an aims, objectives, research questions, literature review, methodology, ethics, bibliography, and of course, provisional schedule. And I will explain each one and why it's needed. So let's start with the title. So a title is needed. Of course, a title is needed that would attract attention to the main problem. Although a choice at this stage is most likely to be modified, it still contributes immensely to the selection of a supervisor. Yes, sometimes we are going to start with the title. Maybe that's not the final version that you are going to use in your research, but most of the time, a very good title is going really to leave that good impression. So, for example, when you go to a supervisor or someone, you ask for help and you say, okay, can you supervise me? And the first thing that I'm going to see is the title. If I really like the title and if I feel that the title fits with my area of expertise, I would directly choose that topic. So the title is very important. Now, number two, an abstract is also important, which serves as a snappy summary of the research topic. It covers the main problem, issues, the gap in the literature, as well as the proposed methodology. The abstract also, like in the final research, is a summary. So it's a summary of what you are going to say. So instead of I'm going to read maybe 5-6 pages, sometimes to 30 pages, depends on the type of research. I'm just going directly to read your abstract, then I will understand what you are going to do. So that's why it's very important. So we move to an introduction. What do we find in an introduction? Now, an introduction to provide an interesting provide an interesting overview of the subject or a problem in its context. It has to be persuasive. That's always the nature of what we call introductions in research methodology. A good introduction would answer the question, is the subject worth investigation? Like, you really need to put all your efforts, you need to put all your efforts in the introduction to really answer this question. Is your work really worth it? Because that's so important. Most of the time, some students, they come to me and said, sir, I have this really interesting title or the interesting work, but the moment I kind of read the introduction, I feel, no, it's really boring. We have done this so many times. So you have really to put a lot of effort at the level of introduction. Let's go to the aim of the study, which is really considered so important. Aims of study are statements of intent by which researcher seeks, or researcher, this is a draft of mine, as a researcher, which a researcher seeks to address or solve specific gaps, inconsistency, and or controversies in the literature. Aims are what a researcher hopes to achieve at the end of the project, often are written in a broad term. Now, let me give you a trick that I always use. If your aim, because usually these are broad just because broad theme, and your title are the same, you have a very good topic. But most of the time, and students do this mistake, you find that the aim is something, but the title is something else. And often here, I know that the students still kind of really, he or she doesn't grasp the problem well, still suffering, still have some inconsistencies. So you have to know that if you have a very good topic, the aims and your title should be really, really kind of similar. For instance, if I say, for example, as an aim, I want to enhance students' writing skills. That's something broad, of course, but still I have to see it in the title. Of course, you just need to specify more, and here we go to the idea of objectives. Now, research objectives might be articulated similarly to the aim most of the time. However, objectives denote the action that will be taken to achieve these aims. So here, they are more specific. They are more specific statements that describe measurable outcomes. A research objective has to be specific, has to be measurable, has to be achievable, and has to be realistic. So this, for example, if I say like the aim of my work is to enhance students' writing skills, okay, would accept that, but still how? And you tell me, for example, by adapting this particular method. Okay, this kind of is an objective. So by adapting this particular method, I'm going to enhance students' writing skills. So here it becomes something realistic, of course, something that we can measure. Now we move to the next question, which are research questions. And research questions are important in a research proposal since the latter have to be one, feasible in terms of adequate number of subject, expertise, resources, and scope. They need to be interesting to warrant investigation. Research questions have to be novel, either confirming, refuting, extending previous finding, or providing new ones. Furthermore, research questions have to be ethical. These are the characteristics of a research question, something that it has to provide something new. Of course, when you talk about something new knowledge, maybe you have made some slight modification in the sample or you are working in a certain new place and you want to see the outcome. So, and of course, most importantly, they have to be ethical. This is concerning the research question. Now let's move to literature review, number 7. And the literature review is needed in a research proposal. You need something, of course, it has to be short. However, unlike the final report in the research proposal, the researcher has to provide state-of-the-art landmark studies and publication related to the topic. Review of literature in this stage should reflect the researcher's ability to offer logical and synthesized review divulging the required concepts and their definition. Like the first thing when a student comes to me and asks, for example, I want to work on this title, I usually ask this question, what do you know? The first thing I'm going to ask, for example, definition of the concept. What do you know about, for example, the certain problem you are investigating? So if I feel like the student has no grasp of the topic or the concept, I would know how can you work on, because this is a priority. When you want to start a topic, you have to know a lot about the topic. A supervisor is there, of course, to help you amend any problems in the methodology, but it's you who are going to be knowledgeable in that field. Now let's go to methodological considerations. Now, methodological considerations are a vital part of the research synopsis. The proposal has to include what? A concise description of the methodology intended to be deployed, as well as justification. Now, the latter includes what? The approach, the sample, the sampling techniques, data collection tools, data analysis procedure. A researcher has always to demonstrate awareness about the advantages and the potential limitation of the methodology adapted. So, even at this stage, I need to see my students or anyone who's proposing a topic that he or she is aware of all the elements in the methodology. Like, as I said, the sample, the sampling techniques, the approaches, and most importantly, this student has to be aware about the potential advantages plus any problems that might emerge. Because most of the time students, they come to me so happy, so eager to start a topic. Just when I say, okay, this, you might have a problem with the methodology. Most of the time I say, for example, you might have problems in obtaining permission to go to that place. So what's your plan B? Or sometimes, for example, I said, your methodology is risky. In terms, for example, it's not like guaranteed that you are going to have permission. And if at later stage you want to gain permission and you would be denied, that means that your own work is going to be jeopardized. And this is kind of a really serious problem. Now, let's move also to the next point is ethical consideration, which are also very important. Now, in ethical considerations have to be also part of a research proposal. Often in a research, there is the need for the collection of data that involves people. Thus, high degree of confidentiality is should be there. And now a researcher is obliged to work with the required permission, protecting the sensitive data of the participant. So even before you start, you need to think about all the permissions. You need to think about so the data you are going to save, going to harm anyone or not, how you are going to save to protect the anonymity of people. These are so important when it comes to research, and I have to see it when it comes to real research proposal, even in your final report, of course, because as I said, all these points are going to be reflected in the final report. Now, the bibliography in a research proposal contains work that's cited, of course, in a research proposal, and the ones that will be followed up in the final research. A supervisor or scientific committee has to be sure that the researcher has enough resources available for the study. Sometimes, unlike, for example, the final report, where you are going to add references of anything you have cited, but here so you have where you are going to reference everything you have cited. And plus, you are also going to say what kind of references you have at your disposal from now. And this is going to show how serious you are when it comes to your work. Now, number 11, some institutions or supervisors may ask for a detailed timetable for completing the task. A researcher has to show his or her ability to finish the task in the agreed time. You see, this is also important sometimes, even if it's not mentioned. And for example, you have 5 years or 4 years time span to work on a research. It's so important that you are going to tell or explain how you are going to manage this time. For example, it's at year 1, I'm going to do this. Year 2, I'm going to do this. This is going to help you to kind of work with kind of timetable, and this of course going to help your institution, your supervisor, and of course even yourself. So this when it comes to all the elements that should be included in a research proposal. Now let's move to something else also important, which are types of research proposal. Now, in this vein, there are two types of research proposal: solicited proposal and unsolicited proposal. Now, the former is submitted in a response to a specific work statement from the sponsor. That's what we call solicited proposal. So this one is submitted because there is a kind of its response to work statement or a sponsor. Now, the latter, solicited proposal for training projects, research specific services. Now, for these types of proposal, applicants need to submit proposal that meet the sponsor conditions and terms to be accepted. On the other hand, unsolicited proposals are submitted by applicant in response to broad guidelines and not to a specific call from a sponsor. You see, when we talked about last time, when we talked about the Amsterdam Scholarship, although it was broad, but still they said that your topic has to fit in or go along with the topics universities offer and teach, or the university program. So in a way, it is also solicited. And plus, they said you have to follow a certain template. They have provided that in their website. So it's very important to know the difference. So let's move also. I provided here an example. For instance, master students in Algeria are required to write dissertation for which they need to submit a research proposal. In this case, the letter is called unsolicited research proposal. On the other hand, doctoral students or PhD students are asked to submit research proposal after they win a PhD contest. Often, these students are asked to work under specific subject and may even be compelled to adhere to certain conditions the laboratory of research imposes. Thus, the type of research proposal here is as a solicited proposal. As you know, in a lot of universities, when master students when they are in master 2 classes, they are asked to write a research or the master dissertation. Most of the time, they write a research proposal, but they don't have any kind of terms and conditions. So in this case, it is unsolicited. Although, for instance, for my case this year, in the beginning, I kind of compelled my student to choose topics. I said, for example, these are the list of topics. You have to choose from them. So in this case, it was solicited. Well, it's not the same case when it comes to PhD students these years. When they win, what they win, often they win, and they win, and they are related to a laboratory of research. And this laboratory of research, they find, like, for example, ready-made titles. So if 4 students win in a certain field, they will find 4 topics. So they are obliged to choose these topics. So that's very important to know. Now, let's talk about the advantages of a research proposal. Now, the advantage of research proposal can be divided into 2 types according to the main benefactor of these benefits. So thus, advantages have to have a direct link with the types of research proposal. When a sponsor calls for the collection of a research proposal application asked to meet all the conditions and terms. For instance, if a research laboratory solicits a number of proposals from different researchers, the latter will select the best in terms of what? Selecting the most knowledgeable researcher, that's one. Assuring that the project selected is more likely to work. And number 3, a good research proposal reflects the sincerity of the researcher. And number 4, these proposals have save sponsor valuable resources. And when it comes to unsolicited proposals, the same advantages are gained, but with the applicant also are helped in this process. So the whole plan for the study will be reviewed and evaluated for effectiveness. The process of reviewing a research proposal will identify flaws and errors. A good research proposal will help in the estimation of cost and time. And this is very, very important. Now, finally, let's talk about why a research proposal can fail. A research proposal is basically a request that can be declined. You have to know this because as a document, you propose it, but you have to know that it can be, of course, denied. In this regard, there are several reasons that can result in the rejection of a research proposal. Number 1, the format of the research proposal reflects the discipline of the researcher. Hence, improper presentation of a proposal is the first reason that can affect the decision of the reviewers. So I would directly judge the students students from the form of the research proposal. If I find mistakes, a lot of problems, I would know that this student is not serious. Number 2, a research proposal has to be written with very formal language and free of mistakes. That's so important. Failing to do that will likely result in a negative answer. Number 3, forgetting or failing to mention all the parts of the research proposal is, of course, a capital mistake. Number 4, although some mistakes can be acceptable and amended by the review board, failing to meet the minimum expectation may result in rejection. Of course, that is quite obvious. Even if a topic is acceptable, ethical issues can be a source of a failure, and this has also to be bear in mind. Number 6, failure to follow guidelines, conditions, and terms will render the proposal rejected. Number 7, a research proposal can also fail even if the topic is perfect, just because of the lack of a supervisor. Hence, a researcher has to confirm that there is one who can supervise an expert in the field. And here it's so important that, for example, if you check the Amsterdam, they said, for example, you have to propose names of a supervisor, and this is so important. And so many students I know, they fail to get a scholarship, or sometimes even getting scholarship, then failing to find a supervisor because they start thinking about the topic sometimes before they think about the matter of supervision. And this is so wrong. You have to really be careful when it comes to that. Now, in the case of solicited research proposal, a researcher has to remember that he or she is entering a competition with others, hence failure is inevitable for some. Now, for example, when we talk about, like, say, for example, we have spoken about the Amsterdam, we talked about the Amsterdam scholarship, and you can guess that like so many students are going to apply. So some they are going to fail. So it's kind of a competition. That's why it's very important that you provide something that is super nice. Now, let's go to the last point, which is a research proposal as a contract. Now, a research proposal should not be considered a research, as I said, it's just blueprint. It should be looked at as a promise between the researcher and the persons or the institution for which the proposal is written. It is, in this sense, a contract that details what will be studied and how. Accordingly, a breach of contract occurs when one party in a binding agreement fails to deliver according to the terms of the agreement. For instance, when a research proposal accepted both one who submitted it and the supervisor expect to work with the content of the proposal. Thus, any substantial deviation will have negative consequences. And this is very important because sometimes a student comes to you with a research proposal, then at the last minute they said, okay, I'm going to change. After you accept him or her, they said, I'm going to change my work. And this is a kind of breach of contract. Breach of contract so means that I also can say, no, I can't supervise you. And it's also the same problem sometimes. Supervisors, they start changing so many things in the original research, they render the research like a different one. And here they really kind of make new problems to the student. So both of parties, they really need to work and they need to kind of start with agreement when it comes to research proposal. So this is my lecture concerning research proposal. I try to be brief. I try to explain everything. So thank you so much and see you soon. Bye.